Welcome back, everyone, to Sci Fi Thursday. I know it's been a little while since I've done a video, and if you're new to the channel, I am building a space station that goes from the ceiling all the way to the floor. And we're using force perspective. We're doing 2-inch figures at the very top and slowly working our way down to 3-inch, 3 3/4, 4-inch, 6-inch, 7-inch, and 8-inch at the very bottom. All right, I have a big project planned for us today, so let's get to it. Okay, today we are working on this section right here. And this area is going to be where they work on mech suits. And you can see I've already done a second level up here, and it'll go across. Now we have to put a door that matches that door up here, and then put that catwalk along this wall too. And we have lots of stuff that goes onto this wall. Across the top, we're going to be using these panels right here. And I'll show you quick what these are. They're display cases for Joy Toy figures. Now what's cool is it comes in pieces. So you have tons of great wall sections. And obviously they come in yellow and red, but they also come in dark gray, light gray, just different colors. And you can find these on Amazon, and I'll put a link in the description of the video so that you can buy these. And I think, don't quote me, but I think they're $10 a piece. And they actually do come with clear plastic for the sides, so they're enclosed cases if you want to build them like that. Here are some of the other parts. I laser cut these. That's what's along there, and I'll put those along here too. And then I laser cut these. And that is what's on there. Now I want this section to be super detailed, just like this section. Lots of cables and chains, a lot of chains hanging down. So I recently got these figures right here. And these are 1/25th scale figures from Joy Toy. They're 3 inches tall. Now up on this level, we have figures that are 2.5 inches tall. So it goes 2.5 inch, 3 inch, 3 3/4 inch, more 3 3/4 inch, some 4-inch figures, and then we jump down to 6-inch figures and 7 to 8-inch figures at the very bottom. So here are those figures. Again, 1/25th scale. They're 3 inches tall. And then here is the 2.5 inch figure. Here is another recent purchase. I'm not sure what scale this is. I think the figures for this were probably 2.5 inch. But this is going to get hung from the ceiling right up there in the corner. I'm definitely going to have more ships hanging from the ceiling. But what I need to do first is make these panels. Those panels go around and all the way down and all the way over to there. So as soon as I get those built in, tacked to the ceiling, then I can hang ships down. I'll just use some clear fishing line and just hang some ships down from the ceiling. One more thing quick. Lately I've been taking apart action figures and swapping arms, legs, heads, and making my own figures. And then I spray a gray primer on them and then paint them. So here's one right here. Here's some more I've been working on. So I've just been taking apart all of my 3 3/4 inch figures and combining the parts. This is a Fortnite figure, but I'm sure he'll get taken apart too. Okay, let's grab some of these pieces here and we'll take them into the workshop and start weathering them. Okay, I'm adding some rust to these pieces. Now the first thing I did was I did a light wash in one direction going down with antique gold. Then let that completely dry. Then, and you know, it's not just the cracks. You're kind of going over just random areas, the face of it, in cracks, just doing some random washes. Now, this one's a little more controlled. You're going in the cracks and around the edges of things. And it's burnt sienna. Now we're using bittersweet chocolate and a sponge. And I'm rotating my sponge. You don't want to get a pattern. You want it to be random. So you just keep churning it. Okay, we'll go over all the pieces, and then I may come back in, water some down, and do some darker areas. I may, let's see, may need a small brush. And again, we can take our brush and do some dark streaks. Okay, I added a little bit of color. I put some orange on those pipes and a little bit of blue on these pipes. And then took that blue and did a wash in certain areas. Man, you can see that you can stack these. You could make an entire wall, or put them like that. There's so much that you can do with these. I almost forgot one last step, and that is to do some dry brushing. I've already done these, and you can see where I brushed over pretty much the lower half. I don't know if you can tell the difference, but just a little bit of dry brushing here and there. You can really tell, like up in this area. Oh, and the color I used was gray sky. You could also do some silver too if you wanted to. Gives it even more of a metal look. Let's give that a try. Okay, as you can see, I got those panels glued in place. We still have a lot to do. I did put a little bit of a wash on these to dirty them up. We'll go in and add some colored screens, some colored buttons, and then there's wires and hoses that connect from the top of these to the bottom of these all the way on all of this stuff. And I started work on the door. Okay, here's what it looks like so far. We still have a long way to go. So these panels up here will go across here. And I have those right there. I've just got to paint it and weather it. And then like this area here, I want to add graffiti, little signs, a lot of tools, and just a lot of details. And the cables, the chains hanging down. Let me change these lights. They might be too bright. Hopefully that's a little better. So much to do. I've got to paint all those control panels with different colored buttons. There's hoses that come out of those that will connect to a big mech robot that sits there. And we've got all the painting and weathering to do on this side. So these are just different size straws that I painted. Red, gray, and orange. I have a big pipe that goes in the corner there, all the way, floor to ceiling. It is right here. I've got a gray primer on it. All right, we're all out of time for today, but I hope you enjoyed seeing the progress that I made on the upper level. If you'd like to see more of my work, join me on Instagram at Jensen Toys. Real quick, I want to give a shout out to another YouTube channel called The Grown Ass Men Toys. Awesome channel. They do room tours and show other people's collections and what they're working on. It's just a great group of guys doing this show. So be sure to check them out. It's the Grown Ass Men Toys. All right, like always, a huge thank you to all of my Patreon members. You guys are the best. All right, well, until next time, stay motivated and happy modeling, everyone.